Buddha's Teachings on Family and Parenthood. By a lifelong researcher in Buddhist philosophy. In the Western imagination, the image of Buddhism is often one of solitary monastics in silent meditation, of a path that requires the renunciation of worldly ties in pursuit of a transcendent goal. Over my 4 decades as a researcher and student of the Dharma, I have found this to be one of the most persistent and incomplete representations of the Buddha's message. While the monastic path is indeed a precious and central part of the tradition, to focus on it exclusively is to overlook the vast, rich, and profoundly practical body of teachings the Buddha gave specifically for the benefit of the householder, the ordinary man or woman living within the intricate and demanding web of family life. The Buddha was not a detached ascetic floating above the concerns of humanity. He was a keen observer of human nature and society. And he understood that for the vast majority of people, the family is the primary crucible in which our character is forged and our spiritual life unfolds. He taught that the home, far from being an obstacle to the path, can be a potent and fertile field for the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, and compassion. A life of spiritual depth is not contingent on renouncing the world, but on engaging with it skillfully. The ancient Pali scriptures are replete with discourses given directly to laypeople, offering a sophisticated and detailed ethical and psychological framework for navigating the complexities of marriage, parenthood, and our duties to our relatives. This is not a set of rigid, divine commandments, but a compassionate and pragmatic guide to creating a harmonious, happy, and spiritually prosperous life within the family context. The Buddha's teachings reveal that our relationships with our parents, partners, and children are not distractions from our practice, they are our practice. This article is an in-depth exploration of this vital, yet often underappreciated, aspect of the Dharma. We will journey into the heart of the Buddha's advice for laypeople, primarily through the lens of the celebrated Sigalovada Sutta, often called the Vinaya of the householder. We will explore the blessings of a well-cherished family as described in the Mangala Sutta. Delve into the art of a skillful partnership between husband and wife. Examine the noble responsibilities of parenthood, and understand the profound importance of gratitude and care for our parents. This is a guide to seeing family life not as a worldly entanglement, but as a sacred opportunity for the deepest and most meaningful practice of all. Part 1. The Foundation, the Layperson's Code of Conduct, the Sigalovada Sutta. If one wishes to understand the Buddhist blueprint for a successful lay life, there is no better place to start than with the Sigalovada Sutta. This single discourse is so comprehensive and practical that the great 20th century scholar T.W. Rhys Davids referred to it as the whole duty of the layperson, according to the Buddha. It provides a complete ethical framework, with the reciprocal duties of our core relationships at its heart. The sutta recounts the story of the Buddha encountering a young householder named Sigala performing a strange ritual. Each morning, with wet hair and clothes, Sigala would bow down and worship the 6 directions: east, south, west, north, the nadir, down, and the zenith, up, in accordance with his late father's dying wish. The Buddha, in his skillful way, did not dismiss the ritual. Instead, he reframed it, imbuing it with a profound ethical and spiritual meaning. He explained that in the discipline of the noble ones, these 6 directions represent not points on a compass, but the key relationships that constitute our social world. By fulfilling our duties within these relationships, we are truly protecting the 6 directions, ensuring our own well-being and contributing to a harmonious society. The East represents one's parents. The South represents one's teachers. The West represents one's spouse and children. The North represents one's friends and associates. The nadir represents one's servants and employees. The zenith represents ascetics and Brahmins, our spiritual guides. For the purpose of this article, we will focus on the directions that constitute the family: the East, parents, and the West, spouse and children. The Buddha's genius lies in presenting these duties not as one-way obligations, but as a system of beautiful and profound reciprocity. A healthy relationship is a two-way street, where each party has a responsibility to the other. The East, parents and children. The Buddha taught that the East is the first and most important direction to be honored. The parent-child relationship is the foundational human bond. A child should minister to their parents in 5 ways. Having been supported by them, I will support them. This is the fundamental duty of care. A child recognizes the immense debt of gratitude they owe their parents for their very life and for the years of tireless care they received when they were helpless. They repay this by supporting their parents in their old age or time of need. I will perform their duties for them. This means taking on the responsibilities of the family, managing household affairs, and easing the parents' burdens as they grow older. I will keep the family tradition. This means upholding the good name and honor of the family, living a life of integrity that does not bring shame upon one's lineage. I will make myself worthy of my inheritance. This is not just about material inheritance. It is about becoming a virtuous and responsible person, worthy of the trust and legacy passed down by one's parents. After they have passed away, I will give offerings in their honor. This is the duty of remembrance, of honoring the memory of one's parents and dedicating meritorious deeds to their well-being. In turn, parents show their compassion for their children in 5 ways. They restrain them from evil. This is the most crucial duty of a parent. It is not about control, but about moral guidance. A loving parent actively steers their child away from unwholesome and harmful actions. They encourage them to do good. Beyond simple restraint, a good parent actively inculcates virtues like kindness, generosity, and honesty in their children, setting them on a path of goodness. They have them taught a profession, skill. This is the duty to provide a child with a practical education, giving them the tools they need to live an independent and successful life. They arrange a suitable marriage. In the cultural context of the time, this meant helping their child find a good and virtuous partner. In a modern context, this translates to guiding them in making wise relationship choices. At the proper time, they hand over their inheritance. This is the act of trust, of recognizing the child's maturity and bestowing upon them the resources and responsibilities of adulthood. When these reciprocal duties are fulfilled, the Buddha said, the eastern direction is covered, making it safe and secure. The West, husband and wife. The relationship between spouses is the cornerstone of the nuclear family. The Buddha outlined a similar set of reciprocal duties for a harmonious marriage. A husband should minister to his wife in 5 ways. By being courteous to her. This means treating her with respect, kindness, and honor. By not despising her. This is a call to avoid contempt, belittling, or taking her for granted. By being faithful to her. The Buddha was unequivocal about the importance of fidelity as a basis for trust and security in a marriage. By handing over authority to her. This is a remarkably progressive statement. It means entrusting her with the management of the household, respecting her domain and her competence. By providing her with adornments. In its context, this meant providing for her material well-being and showing affection through gifts. In a modern sense, it is about being generous and ensuring her needs are met. In turn, a wife shows her compassion for her husband in 5 ways. She performs her duties well. This means managing the household efficiently and creating a pleasant and well-ordered home. She is hospitable to the relatives and attendants. She skillfully manages the extended social web of the family, showing kindness and hospitality to both his family and hers. She is faithful to him. Like the husband's duty, fidelity is essential. She protects what he brings. She is a careful and responsible steward of the family's finances and resources. Avoiding wastefulness. She is skilled and diligent in all her duties. This is a call to be proficient and industrious in all her responsibilities. Contributing to the family's prosperity. When this partnership of mutual respect, trust, and shared responsibility is established, the Western direction is covered, creating a stable and happy foundation for the entire family. The Sigalovada Sutta thus provides a timeless and deeply rational blueprint for family harmony, rooted not in power and authority, but in mutual respect and compassionate duty. Part 2. The Blessings of a Harmonious Home, the Mangala Sutta. While the Sigalovada Sutta provides the how-to, the Mangala Sutta explains the why. This popular sutta addresses a question put to the Buddha by a deity. What are the highest blessings? The Buddha's answer is a list of 38 blessings, a progressive guide to a happy and prosperous life, many of which are directly related to the family. Living a family life in accordance with the Dharma is not just a duty, it is described as a mangala, a supreme blessing. Among the 38 blessings, the Buddha explicitly includes to support one's father and mother, The cherishing of wife and children. These are not listed as mere social obligations, but as being among the highest and most auspicious conditions for a fortunate human life. They are placed on par with other profound blessings like giving, living righteously, and having much learning. This reframes our entire perspective on family responsibility. Tending to the needs of our family is not a chore that takes us away from our spiritual practice. It is a central and blessed part of it. The act of patiently caring for an elderly parent, the act of lovingly providing for a child, the act of cherishing one's partner, these are not worldly entanglements to be escaped, but are themselves acts of profound spiritual merit. They are opportunities to develop the very virtues, patience, khanti, generosity, dana, loving kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna, that are the substance of the path to enlightenment. A harmonious home, therefore, is not just a source of worldly comfort, it is a place where the highest blessings can be cultivated and realized. Part 3. The art of a skillful partnership, the husband and wife relationship. Beyond the duties outlined in the Sigalovada Sutta, the Buddha gave further, more nuanced advice on what makes a marriage not just functional, but a vehicle for spiritual growth. He understood that the ideal partnership is one where the couple are not just companions in life, but companions on the path. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha describes 4 types of couples who live together. The first 3 are pairings of an unvirtuous person with another unvirtuous person, an unvirtuous with a virtuous, and a virtuous with an unvirtuous. But the highest and most praised form of marriage is the 4th. A virtuous man living with a virtuous woman. The Buddha describes this as a divine couple living with a divine partner. What makes them virtuous? He outlines 4 key qualities that, when shared, create the foundation for a truly happy and spiritually prosperous marriage. This is often referred to as a partnership of like-mindedness, samasata. Shared faith, conviction, saddha. This doesn't necessarily mean sharing the same religion, but sharing the same core values. It is a mutual conviction in the law of karma, in the importance of ethical living, and in the potential for human awakening. When a couple shares a deep-seated ethical and spiritual worldview, their partnership has a firm and noble foundation. Shared virtue, sila, both partners are committed to practicing ethical conduct. They share a commitment to the 5 precepts: harmlessness, honesty, fidelity, right speech, and sobriety. This creates an atmosphere of profound trust, security, and mutual respect. There is no fear of deception or betrayal. Shared generosity, kaga. Both partners have a spirit of generosity and letting go. They are not miserly or possessive with each other or with the world. Their home is an open and hospitable place, and they take joy in giving and sharing what they have. Shared wisdom, panya. Both partners are committed to the cultivation of wisdom. They are dedicated to understanding the nature of reality, to practicing mindfulness, and to purifying their own minds. They support each other's spiritual growth, discussing the Dharma, meditating together, and encouraging each other on the path. When a couple can align their lives along these 4 principles, their marriage is transformed. It ceases to be a mere arrangement for worldly comfort and becomes a powerful spiritual alliance. A partnership that not only brings happiness in this life but also supports the journey to liberation for both individuals. The Buddha states that such a couple, if they so wish, can be reunited in future lives, continuing their journey together. Part 4. The noble task of parenthood, raising children with wisdom and compassion. Parenthood, from a Buddhist perspective, is a profound karmic responsibility and a unique opportunity for spiritual growth. A child is not a possession, but a being entrusted to our care. The primary goal of a Buddhist parent is not to raise a child who is merely successful in a worldly sense, but to raise a child who is virtuous, resilient, and compassionate, a being who will be a source of good in the world. This goes back to the duties outlined in the Sigalovada Sutta, restraining them from evil and encouraging them to do good. This is the moral core of Buddhist parenting. Restraining from evil. This is the compassionate protection of a child from harm, both external and internal. It involves setting clear boundaries. Children thrive on structure and clear ethical guidelines. A parent must have the wisdom and courage to say no to behaviors that are harmful to the child or to others. Modeling ethical conduct. The most powerful way to teach a child is through example. If parents live a life of integrity, honesty, and kindness, their children will naturally absorb these values. Teaching the consequences of actions. A Buddhist parent helps their child to understand the law of karma in simple, practical terms. They teach them that actions have consequences, that kindness begets kindness, and that causing harm ultimately leads to one's own unhappiness. Encouraging the good. This is the active cultivation of virtue. Teaching generosity. Dana, parents should encourage their children to share their toys, to give to those in need, and to find joy in the act of giving. Teaching loving kindness. Metta, parents can teach their children to be kind to all beings, including animals. They can teach them to resolve conflicts peacefully and to have a compassionate heart for those who are suffering. Teaching mindfulness. Even young children can be taught simple mindfulness practices, such as paying attention to their breath for a few moments when they are upset, or eating a snack mindfully. This gives them invaluable tools for emotional regulation that will last a lifetime. The practice of parenthood is also a powerful teacher for the parents themselves. It is a masterclass in patience, selflessness, and unconditional love. The endless demands of a child, the need to put another's well-being before one's own, and the challenge of responding to difficult behavior with kindness rather than anger. All of these are profound opportunities for our own spiritual development. Part 5. Fulfilling our duty as children, gratitude and care for parents. The Buddhist emphasis on honoring and caring for one's parents is one of its most steadfast and beautiful teachings. As we saw in the Sigalovada Sutta, supporting one's parents is the first and foremost duty of a child. Representing the honoring of the Eastern direction, the Buddha taught that the debt we owe our parents is almost incalculable. This is rooted in the virtue of gratitude, Katanyu Katavedi. We are encouraged to recognize, Katanyu, the incredible gift our parents have given us, not just the gift of life, but the years of protection, nourishment, and education they provided when we were completely dependent. Then, we are encouraged to act on that recognition, Katavedi, by repaying that kindness. The Buddha said that our parents are like the first gods, Pubbadeva, or the first teachers, Pubbacharya. He even went so far as to say that if a family has a son or daughter who is virtuous and cares for their parents, it is as if that family has brought Brahma, the highest God, into their home. This teaching is a powerful antidote to the modern tendency to see elderly parents as a burden. In the Buddhist view, caring for our parents in their old age is not a burden, it is a profound privilege and a rare opportunity to repay an immense debt of love. It is one of the most powerful ways to generate good karma and to cultivate a compassionate and grateful heart. Of course, the Buddha was also a realist. He understood that not all parent-child relationships are ideal. For those with difficult or abusive parents, the teaching is not a command to enable further harm. In such cases, the support might take the form of cultivating a heart of forgiveness and compassion from a safe distance, wishing for the parents to be free from the suffering that causes them to act harmfully, while protecting one's own well-being. Part 6. Navigating conflict and difficulty in the family. No family is free from conflict. The Buddha's teachings provide a complete toolkit for navigating the inevitable disagreements, frustrations, and challenges of family life with wisdom and skill. Mindfulness, sati, when a conflict arises. Mindfulness is our first line of defense. Instead of immediately reacting with anger or defensiveness, we can take a mindful pause. We can notice the angry feelings arising in our own body, observe the defensive thoughts, and create a space of awareness. In that space, we have the freedom to choose a response rather than being a slave to our habitual reactions. Right speech, samavaka. This is absolutely crucial in family life. When we are upset, we must make the effort to speak truthfully but also kindly. We must avoid words that are harsh, blaming, or divisive. We can learn to express our own feelings and needs. When you do X, I feel Y. Rather than making accusations, you always do Z. Compassion, karuna. This is the practice of trying to understand the suffering behind the other person's unskillful behavior. A child who is misbehaving may be feeling scared or insecure. A partner who is irritable may be under immense stress at work. By looking for the suffering behind the action, our anger can soften into compassion, which allows for a much more constructive resolution. Forgiveness. Holding grudges is like a poison that slowly destroys a family from within. The Buddhist practice of forgiveness is the act of letting go of the burden of resentment for our own sake. It is the understanding that all beings make mistakes out of their own confusion and pain, and that our own peace depends on our ability to release the past and open our hearts to the present. Conclusion. The family as a path to awakening. The Buddha's teachings offer a profound and comprehensive vision of family life. They elevate it from a mere social institution to a sacred and potent arena for spiritual practice. The home is our first monastery. Our parents are our first teachers. And our partners and children our most intimate spiritual friends. In this view, a meaningful and spiritual life is not to be found by escaping our responsibilities, but by embracing them with a new and wiser perspective. Every meal we cook, every difficult conversation we navigate with kindness, every moment of patient care we offer to a child or an aging parent becomes an act of Dharma practice. We learn that generosity is not just about giving money, but about giving our full, mindful presence to our loved ones. We learn that patience is not just for the meditation cushion, but for the moments when our child is having a tantrum. We learn that wisdom is not just about understanding complex doctrines, but about seeing the impermanent, selfless, and interdependent nature of the very people we live with every day. To live as a Buddhist householder is to accept the beautiful and challenging task of weaving the golden threads of the Dharma, ethics, mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom into the intricate tapestry of our family life. It is to create a home that is not just a shelter from the world, but a beacon of sanity, a haven of peace, and a living testament to the possibility of finding liberation not in spite of our worldly ties, but through the very heart of them.